my lecture is naturally for civil engineers and hardcore architects who wish to bring speedier construction systems in the sector. So, I don't know, but let me start and let me make a try. So the topic is emerging construction system for mass housing. And let me just tell you, because I have just included a slide, and this is a slide about urbanization, and this contains the facts and figures, being published by ministry. And as you can see here, we are fast urbanizing. By 2030, 40% of our population will live in urban areas, and by 2050, it will be 50%. And if you can see the rectangle just below that graphics, you will see that to cater to this growing population, India has to build 600 to 800 million square meter urban space every year. And this was a statement given by our honorable minister in one of the conferences, and I picked it from there. So this 600, 800 million square meter urban space means we have to build a new Chicago every year till 2030. So we are, for next 9 to 10 years, we have to build this much of urban space. So in order to build this much of urban space, we have to be receptive, we have to be innovative, we have to be productive also. And, and in our mind, we should always keep in mind that we have to foster sustainable growth and ensure better quality of living. So can it be done with business as usual approach? And being civil engineer and structural engineer, we are trying to bring in new construction systems which can help us build faster, keeping in mind climate change, sustainability, disaster resilience, and so many things which I will be talking in this lecture. And also, dear friends, let me tell you participants as well that, next year we will be completing 75th year of our independence, and we want to build new young India. And we want to take our economy to $5 trillion economy, which is right now $3 trillion economy. And our sector, which is the construction sector, buildings and infrastructure sector, is going to play the most important role, because it contributes significantly to our GDP. And that is why we thought of bringing something new, new systems which can help build new India, which is sustainable and resilient. Also, let me tell you here that this is again a statement given by our minister time and again, that the kind of urban renewal scheme being undertaken by Government of India, these are unheard of. The kind of scale, the kind of urban reconnaissance schemes, nowhere in the world this kind of things have taken place. So we all should feel proud that this is the scale we are working with. And all the time we start comparing our country with other countries, but let me tell you the kind of scales we have, they are mind-boggling. Unthinkable. I will give you the figures of housing. You just can't think of it. So whenever we talk about inclusiveness, we talk about sustainability, always keep in mind that scale. And that is why whenever we want to bring in something new, we work on a 3S mantra, which is 3S stands for skill, scale, and speed. So skill, I think Hitesh ji also talked about skill. Skill is very important if we want to build new India, if we want to bring in sustainability, if we want to foster sustainable growth, ensure better quality, we want to have smart cities, we need to have a different and new set of skills in the country. And always remember scale. Our country cannot be compared with any other country. The kind of scales we have, nowhere in the world that kind of scale we have. Whether I talk about housing, we require 11.3 million, more than 1 crore houses to be built in the urban areas. And speed. I always say in my lectures that speed is going to play one of the, it is going to be of paramount importance. Earlier we always talked about cost and other things, but unless we build fast, it is not going to make sense. And the way the Honorable Prime Minister and the present government is looking at India, and we want to take India to one of the fastest growing economy, so we have to deliver our goals faster. And that is why speed is going to be very important. And to my fresh graduates and prospective students and architects who are practicing and who wish to start their career, let me tell you, in times to come, it's whenever you conceive a project or whenever you think of a project, speed will be the most important factor. Okay. So with this word, let me just also show you this slide, because we require in urban areas. We work in Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban. There are two schemes being run by Government of India. One is PMAY Urban, and which is known as the PMAY Shehri, and the other one is PMAY Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin, which is rural. And through these two schemes, the present government is aiming that when we celebrate 75th year of our independence, there should be a pakka house to each household in India, particularly the people living in the poor, poor people of the India. And because I deal with urban, we deal with urban. So in urban, the urban shortage, when we started this PMAY mission in 2015, it was 11.3 million. So just think of that scale. 1.13 crore houses need to be constructed in urban area by 2022. And I am so proud to share with you that already we have sanctioned, we have already achieved the target, and out of these 1 crore houses, 8.4 million houses have already been grounded, out of which 50 lakh houses or 5 million houses have already been handed over to the beneficiaries. And out of this 1 crore houses, 1.6 million houses are being constructed with innovative technology. And friends, this was the background that when we thought that we have to build so many houses, do we have enough material? Do we have enough, infrastructure to execute this kind of thing? Can we do it within the time frame given to us, without vitiating our mother nature, without vitiating our natural resources, without creating pollution and waste? So with that we started, and we thought that it is high time that we bring in a set of technologies or systems or materials which are sustainable and which can help build faster, and which can help in the sustainable development goals, climate mitigation strategies, to which India is also committed to reduce carbon footprint. So with all these things we started, and let me just tell you, this is a slide for civil engineers. Normally, the construction which takes place in all over the world takes place in these two categories, and you can see the pictures on the right hand side of my screen. One is the load bearing construction, where you put brick by brick, create the wall, and then put the slab. Other is cast in place construction, where you create reinforced concrete beam and columns, and then do the infill walls. Okay, and now let me tell you that these two approaches are slow track construction. They require a lot of natural resources, create a lot of pollution. The kind of material we are using, they are quite energy intensive. So all of this is business as usual, and if we continue to construct, with these practices in vogue, we will not be able to achieve the target which is given to us, and we will be, harming the Mother Earth. We will be, encroaching upon the natural resources which are already in short supply. This is again a slide. Primarily the major construction material is cement, aggregate, and water. And earlier it was said that water is, you require a lot of water when you do any construction or whenever you create an infrastructure, because water is required for curing and all, and that water is potable water. You require potable water, drinking water, and water is scarce, all of you know. And there is another thing, fine aggregate, sand. Let me tell you, earlier there used to be a proverb was saying that the next world war would be fought on water. Let me tell you that the next world war would be fought on sand. And if you Google and just type sand war, you will be amazed. You will be astonished to see that sand all of a sudden has become scarce. And we never thought, we always used to extract the sand from the rivers or through mining, but nowadays all of a sudden sand is being manufactured. Okay, so sand has become a scarce material, and it has happened because we have been irrationally managing our natural resources, and the sand all of a sudden become scarce. And that is why, if you see some even on TV, you will find there are advertisement of sand making machines. So just imagine that now we have to make sand. Similarly, during COVID time, we understood that the importance of labor, skilled labor. All of a sudden, all the projects came to halt. So can't we have some industrialized systems where, whether it is pandemic or any natural hazard or any other thing, the work keeps on going without any delays. Okay, and so there is shortage of skilled labor, and most of the construction is not up to the mark if we continue to adopt this business as usual approach. Also, Hitesh ji was talking about it is time now that earlier, as civil engineers, when we practiced, we never bothered about. We always took cement, brick for granted. But now these materials no longer can be taken for granted because they are unsustainable. Cement produces a lot of greenhouse gases. Embodied energy requirement is high. Brick, all of consumes topsoil and also emits greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide. So green buildings or green or sustainable practices are the order of the day, and we need to practice those in day-to-day construction and building our infrastructure. Also, this word, you please take it from me, that as a true patriot or as a true citizen of India, we need, whatever we do, we have to do pretty fast. And when I say pretty fast, it doesn't mean that pretty fast, without sacrificing structural, functional, other requirements. Speed doesn't mean that you compromise with quality, affordability, sustainability, disaster resilience. But whatever we have to do, if we want to be leading the world, we need to bring in speedier construction systems, technologies, and whatever we do. Green, because this is something of green. Ever since I've heard this word green, everybody defines these green buildings in different ways. So I have written that green aspects can be explained in four major parameters. One is resource efficiency, energy efficiency, eco-friendliness, and health. Resource efficiency means, all the time we cannot take, like cement. If we talk about cement, is based on natural resource, limestone. Steel is based on iron ore. So, you need to bring in materials and systems which are resource efficient, I don't say, don't use cement, don't use steel, but use them optimally. And all of us know how work takes place at the site. There is no control on uses of water. There is no control on uses of other materials. So let's optimize the use. Let's bring in natural resource efficiency. So can we use waste materials? Can we use this? There are so many waste. Now everybody's talking about circular economy. So whatever waste we produce, can that waste be converted into useful building products or building materials? So the answer is yes. And it's been doing. Nowadays, even research is being done on producing concrete without cement. So you no longer require cement to produce concrete. Energy, all of us know India is a country, energy scarce, and so we have to bring in practices which are energy efficient. So embodied energy of material, transporting that material to the site. How can the energy requirement can be cut down? That is another aspect which need to be looked into. Greenness, eco-friendliness. All of us know greenhouse gas emission, and like we talk about plantation timber nowadays. Bamboo is another green material, and can we have systems, materials, and practices which can help us in eco-friendliness. And fourth is also very important point is health of the occupants. Let me share with you that every now and then we talk about air quality index, and metros like Delhi, even Calcutta, and Mumbai, and all air quality index, and this particulate material 10 and 2.5, it reaches some limit and all. But let me tell you, the when you are experiencing this air quality outside, what about inside the air quality index? And there has been a study by UNEP which says that indoor air quality is 2 to 4 times more poisonous than the outside air quality. 2 to 4 times. And why it has happened? Because the kind of material, the kind of treatment, the kind of varnishes we are using, the kind of paints we are using, because we always take them for granted. The paint we are using is okay, this is the paint, but they emit poisonous gases or harmful emissions which are quite detrimental to the health of the occupant. So health of the occupant is also very important, and that is why greenness, can be explained in resource efficiency, energy efficiency, eco-friendliness, and health of the occupants. Again, this is a slide from Energy Research Institute, and because I am dealing with the buildings, residential sector. So buildings consume 40% of precious energy resource, 25% of precious water, and 40% of natural resources. Okay, and at the same time, building activities contribute 50% to air pollution, 42% to greenhouse gas emission, 50% to water pollution, and 48% of solid waste is being generated through the building activities. So can we cut? So at one, on one side, buildings consume precious energy, water, and natural resources, and on the other side, they contribute to pollution and greenhouse gas emission and water pollution and generate solid waste. And also, as a signatory to the Paris Agreement, we need to cut down our carbon emissions, and if we continue to have that business as usual approach, the greenhouse gas emissions, and we continue to use even these building materials which I talked about, the technologies which are in vogue, the greenhouse gas emissions will double by 2050. So what is required? We require something new. We require out-of-box thinking, and that is what being done at Government of India level. We have come out with some technologies which I'll be explaining you quickly. So whatever I just explained you is just written here, that we require speed. I explained you why. Quality cannot be compromised anytime, and I come from a field of earthquake engineering, so we have seen the structures showing no distress, and whenever there is a earthquake or a cyclone for that matter, those buildings start showing distress or extensive damage, and it happens because qualities are not up to the mark. So quality is also very important. Safety. India is a country which is prone to natural hazards, whether be it cyclone, flood, earthquakes, and nowadays even thunderstorm we have. So safety of structure is very important. Sustainability. This is the seminar is all about sustainability. So as civil engineers, as architects, or as policymakers, whenever we think of any project or build any infrastructure or building, sustainability has to be kept in mind. And sustainability is very wider term. And as I told you, if we can ensure energy efficiency, eco-friendliness, health, disaster resilience, somehow we are able to achieve that sustainability. Life cycle cost is another new term which is being coined now. Every time we are talking about cost. I always give the example that as Indians we talk, what is the cost per square meter, or what is the cost of this? We never talk about life cycle cost. Life cycle cost is, it is a summation of initial cost plus operating cost and disposal cost. Do we ever think of disposal cost? The answer is no. A building which is being constructed by me or as an engineer or as an architect, once the service life of building is over, how that building is going to be disposed, we never bothered about that. But now it is the time that once the service life of building is over, how this building is going to be disposed so that it does not create any harmful effect on the environment or on the water and on the land. So that is very important. And then majority of the cost goes in operating a building or operating our infrastructure. So that operating cost is also very important. So whenever we build anything, think that how we are going to reduce the operating cost, because during the operations of a building, major energy is being consumed during that time. Major emissions take place during the service life of the building. So always talk about life cycle cost. So that life cycle cost is also going to play a very important role in times to come, and this is also going to be a very important parameter in deciding the projects in times to come. And last is the functional performance, because whenever we talk about, we are so much obsessed with the reinforced concrete construction, thick walls and all. And when we start comparing that with the new construction system, which have relatively thinner, walls and thinner sections, so the questions are being raised about functionality, functional performance of these buildings. So functional performance means thermal efficiency, sound, fire resistance, and all. So always look for functionality of the building. Whatever you are giving new, will it be functional? Will it gel well with the current living or practices? Okay, and by introducing all these things or sustainable practices, we can reduce, and it has been shown by, again, this is the data from the Energy Research Institute, one of the pioneer organizations working in this area, that by implementing or by practicing these sustainable practices, materials, and technologies, the energy use can be reduced 30 to 50%. Water uses can also be reduced significantly, up to 40%. Greenhouse gas emission 35%. And there will be, have we ever thought of, whenever you go to any project site, you will find heaps of construction waste. So now, in times to come, there is going to be, a rider that whenever you finish up, whatever waste you are producing during construction has to be consumed in that project itself. If you go to UK and all, there you have to have zero waste product. So similar, the kind of waste we are producing, can that waste be utilized in the project itself, or do we have systems, technologies, and processes where we generate no waste when we do the construction? Okay. This is a very interesting slide to show you. All of you can understand. These are the levels of construction technology all over the world. So, the level 0 to level 4, and I will explain you what is level 4. Just I will pause for a second here, and you all try to assimilate this slide and think that at which level you are, or at which level you understand or you know about. Okay, in the world, or even in India, we have reached up to level 4. But most of you will agree with me that the answer to your mind which will come is level 0. Level 0 is where we collect the material at the site, and then we call masons, supervisors, contractors, developers, and ask them to start building the structure or building or bridge or whatever you call it. So collecting the material at the site and doing the construction, that is level 0. And level 4 is, level 4 is where the entire thing, entire building, pre-finished building, is done in the factory. All you have to do is bring that building to your site and start using it. It's like plug and play home. I give the example of plug and play home. Plug and play is what? Plug and play is your USB drive is plug and play device. So what is plug and play device? Means that the USB drive you put in your computer or in your TV and start seeing the movie or videos or your photographs or start playing presentation. So same thing is being done in building construction. So that is plug and play homes. So what you do everything in the factory, bring it to the site, connect it with the plug and play, means connected with the water, electricity, and start using it. And that is called level 4. And dear friends, we have reached at level 4 even in India. So which is unheard of. And level 3 is where level 4 everything is pre-finished, means you put the services, you put the water connection, you put even the furniture in the factory setup, in the setup, and then just start using. And level 3 is where you just make the skeleton. And level 3 is also being used in India. There are a number of companies who have already reached at level 3. Level 3 means you might have seen the child playing with the Lego blocks. So what do they do? They just by putting block one over other, they get the shape, whatever shape they want to create. So same thing can be done in building. You just make the modules, put one over other to create a multi-story tower. So that is level 3, and there are a number of companies in India who are doing this level 3. And as Ritesh was telling you that I normally don't preach. I also what I preach, I practice. So already we are doing a project at level 3 where building blocks will be building modules, or the rooms will be treated as building blocks. They will be fabricated in the factory, and then will be put one over other to create the multi-story tower. So, the world has reached to level 4, and through Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs and Building Research and Technology Promotion Council, we are trying to take a leap jump. So I call it a pole vault. So from level 0 to level 4, we want to reach, and that's our sincere attempt. And you all will agree with me that the kind of background I gave to you, that what are the advantages associated with this if we take a jump from level 0 to level 4. This slide I will just very briefly now. All these technologies are customized. So another new term has come in the market, which is design for manufacture and assembly. You go to the tailor and ask him that as per your requirement, as per your size, as per your fit, the size and other things, you get the shirt or the jacket made. So same thing can be done in the building infrastructure construction. There are companies who are like tailor. So they will design for manufacture and assembly. So give them your requirement, give your sizes and all. They will do everything for you. They will create a plant. They will construct building theirs and then bring it to the site and do. So there are agencies now. No longer you have contractors, developer. You have agencies who do design for manufacture and assembly. I also want to coin a word, very interesting word here: manufacturing of buildings. Just try to think. Instead of constructing a building, we are going for manufacturing of building. And the moment you understand the difference between constructing a building and manufacturing a building, you understand what I'm talking about. So manufacturing a building means you take the entire operations from the site to the factory, and you start manufacturing a building. I also let me also tell you that you might have, if you go and visit any industry of car manufacturing facility, what they do there, they will it is called assembly line production, where they will each person will put one part and the end product will be the complete finished car. Same thing is being done in buildings, where they are putting component wise, and at the end you get the building manufactured. And there are agencies in India who are doing it already. So we are trying to bring manufacturing, and the moment you bring manufacturing, you will get away with a lot of things. You can have energy, you can have everything can be controlled. Okay. Then this is again a slide, and as I have been repeatedly telling you that all these things have come to India, and as Government of India, we are promoting them. We have already created a basket of these technologies, which I will just explain you. And organizers, please let me know whenever I have to finish. I will just finish because I don't know how much time I have. So this is a 3D printed house. This is a building which is being done by L&T. All of you must be knowing about L&T. Is one of the
So actually, sorry to interrupt you, sir, but you had 25 minutes. You already have gone over the time limit. It's okay. You just finish it. It's okay.
5 minutes, I'll finish, no issues. I will finish in 5 minutes. So this is again a slide to show you that right here in India, this is the 3D printed house. Okay, and I was fortunate enough to be part of this initiative, and this was inaugurated by Honorable Finance Minister, and I was also part of this. So this is in Kanchipuram in Tamil Nadu. This is the 3D printed building, and all of you know 3D printing means you just give a command to the computer, and then like you create a picture or create a Word document and just give a command, and your computer gives you the printout. In a similar fashion, you give a command, and here you have cartridge, there you have construction ink. Construction ink is nothing but special kind of cement, and that way, but just by a click of command and through robotics, you can print this kind of building. So this is the first 3D printed building in India. Okay, and so with this, with this background, let me tell you that we have shortlisted around 54 new construction systems, which are broadly classified into these 6 broad categories. I will not go into detail because I am already encroaching your time. So what you can do is, all of you, if you are interested in these construction systems, you can go to my YouTube channel. In that YouTube channel, you can just type my name or type BMTPC, and you will get whole lot of literature, whole lot of educative films. In fact, we have created video lectures also in pedagogy form, where you can learn and understand about these construction systems. So I will not go, but I'll just tell you these construction systems are broadly classified into these 6 broad categories: formwork systems, stay in place formwork system, then sandwich panel system, which is also known as drywall construction, then steel steel-based structural systems, and precast concrete construction system. Let me tell you, precast concrete construction system, all of you might have seen how metro is being done, how earlier bridges were constructed, and now how bridges are being constructed. So what is being done, you are getting the girders and all being made in the factory, and one fine day you have the columns erected, and over that column you put the girder, and then you start doing the metro operation. So similar kind of things are being practiced in the construction sector. So let me just not give you all these things. I will just give you one slide, because since Hiteshji was talking about global housing challenge, looking at all these needs and all, even our honorable Prime Minister was quite fascinated by all these new construction systems, and thought that we should bring in these technologies to our country. And what we did, we conceptualized global housing technology challenge, and we floated a challenge to the global technology providers and global agencies, that can we have construction systems which can help build maximum number of houses in minimum time and minimum cost. Let me again repeat, we threw a challenge to the, at a global level to the world, that do we have construction systems, processes and technologies which can help build maximum number of houses in minimum time and minimum cost. And that challenge was a huge success. It was inaugurated by Honorable Prime Minister in March 2019, and through that challenge we could shortlist 54 new construction systems. And the details of those systems are available on this website. Please make a note of this. It's a very informative website. You will get all details about technology, systems, and our initiatives on this website. So GHTC stands for Global Housing Technology Challenge, GHTC-India.gov.in. You go to this website and get the information. Okay, so these are the 54 those new technologies, and which are again divided into these 6 broad categories. I'm not going into the details of this technology. So all these 54 technologies are available now, and we want to make these technologies as the technologies for the future. And as I was telling you, walk the talk, we have already started the lighthouse projects where we're constructing 1,000 houses, more than 1,000 houses at 6 locations, which I will just show you. Yeah, this is the slide. Now using these 54 technologies, we are constructing 6 lighthouse projects, and we are calling them lighthouse projects. So lighthouse projects are like incubation centers where all of you can go see the implementation of these new technologies, learn these technologies and adapt them in your future. The idea here is to adopt these technologies and make them technologies for the future construction in India. So these are the 6 lighthouse projects, and again the foundation stone laying ceremony for all these lighthouse projects was done by Honorable Prime Minister on a virtual mode on 1st of January 2021, and all these projects are running pretty fast, and the construction time given for completion of all these projects is 12 months, and whosoever does it fastest, there is a prize money for that. There is an incentivization. So in 12 months, these projects are to be completed, and through this platform, in fact, while inaugurating these projects, Honorable Prime Minister urged that all these stakeholders, including students, faculty members, policy makers, all of them should go visit this project and understand about these technologies and start using them. So this is that slide to show you that Prime Minister did that. And what we are doing, we are also calling these lighthouse projects as live laboratories, and we have also started a scheme called Technograhi. So I will urge all of you, if you have not registered, you can enroll yourself as Technograhi. And Technograhi is a word given on the lines of Satyagrahi. Satyagrahi was the word given for freedom fighters by Father of Nation, Mahatma Gandhi ji. After that, when we started Swachh Bharat Mission, we coined the word Swachhagrahi, and now we have coined the word Technograhi. And Technograhi is a word for all the stakeholders who would be the change agents of innovative and sustainable construction technologies. So you all can get enrolled free of cost for this Technograhi, and the moment you enroll yourself as Technograhi, you will be connected with Ministry and us, and you will get to know the progress of all these projects. You will get to know about the latest trends on all these things. So with this, I will just finish, and this is my last slide. I'm sorry for encroaching in the time. So let's be part of India's growth story by reforming, performing, and transforming. And if you have anything to ask me, you can always write to me on my email. Thank you very much.